Hey everyone, welcome back to VA Made Easy. I'm Ed Farmer. Have you ever been denied your VA claim? The VA says, well, there's no record of it in your files, so it never happened. Guys, I'm here to tell you that you don't need military record to verify an event or injury in service. That's right. You could use something called buddy statements. It's a powerful tool to help you win your VA case, and I'm here to tell you how. So, buddy statements are basically first-hand accounts of someone who witnessed an injury in service or maybe observed the beginnings of a disease you had in service. Let me give you some examples of when I've actually used buddy statements to win VA disability claims so you understand their strength a little bit more. This first example, client was on a land navigation course in Korea. They're like on the side of a mountain, right? So he loses his footing. He rolls down the mountain, injures his back in the meantime. He's a tough guy, so he didn't think of anything of it and just kept going. He began to feel pain and soreness afterwards, and he just developed back issues in service ever since his fall. But he never got treated for it. He was too afraid to get treated for it, afraid he would get called names or something for going to sick call. Files a VA claim just a few years after he gets out of service. VA denies it, saying there's no proof there's nothing in your service records that show you fell, hurt your back. Luckily for him, he had a friend who saw him fall. And even more lucky, that friend was the medic in his unit. So that medic writes us a statement. Yep, I saw him lose his footing. I saw him fall down the mountain. He was grabbing on his back afterwards. And then he came to see me every day for 2, 3 weeks later because he was in pain and he wanted me to give him some ibuprofen. This was enough for the VA to concede, yeah, okay, something happened in service. Guys, you don't need to get treated in service. Yeah, it makes it a hell of a lot harder if you don't, but the buddy statement can fill in. Did you know that you only need to show that there's a 50% chance that an event happened in service to win? And a buddy statement could meet that 50% threshold. So, what was good about this guy's statement? One, it was someone who actually observed the event. They observed him not only falling down the hill, but grabbing his back afterwards. And two, this is a medical professional that actually treated him afterwards and provided him pain medication and some other treatment hurt his back. So it's a really good witness, someone who actually observed the event and treated the person afterwards. So that's one example, guys. Sometimes it actually helps to get a statement of someone who saw the after effect. So another client of mine, he was in basic training. They're sitting on these like football bleachers. He was at the very top. I don't know what he was doing, but he leaned back too far and he fell, 15 feet down and broke his back and his hips. He got taken to the hospital and got put into a body cast where he stayed for several months. For some reason, they didn't kick him out of the military. He got to go back once he was all healed up. Filed a claim for his broken back after he got in the military, actually, many years after he got in the military. But he was like, there's no way this happened. If it happened, it would have been in your service records. And, I thought that was actually a valid argument. I mean, if you're in a body cast, and there's a good chance it's going to be in your service records. I'm not sure what happened in this case, why it wasn't in his records, but we actually had a way out. He had a brother who said, oh, yeah, I remember he came home when he was injured and he was in body cast, and he was in body cast for quite some time. And then he went back to the Navy. That was proof enough that met the 50% threshold to show that something happened to this guy in service. We went on to win the case. He got quite a good rating for his back and some other issues. So it is possible, guys. If you don't get treated for it, buddy statement could fill in that missing evidence. Now, another good use of a buddy statement, besides showing that an injury occurred in service, is that a disability began in service. So one really good use of buddy statements is to show that your sleep apnea symptoms began in service. So loud snoring, stop breathing in your sleep. And guys, I'm not going to go too much detail about sleep apnea. Go check out my other video about winning your sleep apnea case. I use buddy statements for sleep apnea cases all the time, and I'm highly successful in it. But mental health conditions. Sometimes guys aren't diagnosed with mental health conditions until years after the military, although they had, looking back at it, they had some signs and symptoms. So I had a guy, he wanted service connection for bipolar disorder. He was like, Ed, I know I wasn't diagnosed until 3 years after I got out of the service, but my behavior changed when I was there. I started doing weird things. And it's one thing to get the veteran statement, to help you win the case, but to actually have another witness, a firsthand account of the behavior change is powerful evidence. So he lived with his sister off base, and his sister was like, yeah, about a year into service, he started acting weird. He would stay up for days at a time. He would have 50 windows open on his computer looking at different things all hours of the night. And then he would sleep for 3 days. She's like, I don't know what was going on with them. So what we did is we got a statement from the sister about these changes that occurred in him, gave it to a doctor. A doctor wrote an opinion saying what she's describing are classic bipolar disorder symptoms. That was enough to get him service connected. Now, guys, you don't necessarily need the medical opinion part. What you're going to do is get the statements describing the symptoms that began in service, whether it's sleep apnea, whether it's a mental health condition, whatever people could observe and write on your behalf is good evidence. The VA should take that evidence and provide you with a free compensation pension exam to determine if the symptoms your buddies are describing in their letters of the condition you're asking for service connection for. So sometimes the VA CMP examiner agrees, sometimes they don't. If they don't agree, then that's the point where you should probably look into getting your own medical opinion. If you guys need help obtaining medical opinions, that's a service I can help provide. Feel free to set up a consultation with me. So what makes for a good buddy statement? One, as I said before, that person actually observed the event or injury or observed the symptoms you had in service. So in that previous example, the sister observed symptoms of the bipolar. So they are competent to state what they saw. They are not competent to say, oh, he has sleep apnea, or he has bipolar, or, he has degenerative disc disease of the back. No, guys, they're not, unless they're a doctor, they cannot diagnose in their buddy statement. All they could do is say, this is what I saw. I saw him grab his back. Yeah, he snored really loudly at night. Or, yeah, he would stay up for 3 days. These are observable things they could competently testify about and write about. 2, explain to the VA how this person would know about these symptoms they observed. So in the falling down the hill, the guy served them in unit. He directly observed the event. Sleep apnea cases, usually it's somebody sleeping next to you. So they were in the same barracks as you. So you want to explain that to the VA. How would this buddy know and be able to observe these symptoms? For the bipolar, his sister lived with him, so she would have been around him. She would have observed these things in him. Next, have them give as many details as possible. Who, what, why, when, how. If you could put dates, names, units, put that information in there. Now, guys, there's no specific form to use here. I use a sworn statement called the declaration, but I'm an attorney and, I like to be fancy. There's actually a form the VA uses. That's VA Form 21-10210. I'll give you guys there's some examples of the statements in the sleep apnea video, and I'll try to provide some examples here for you as well. More statements, the better. If you have multiple witnesses, hey, that's great. Get statements from all of them. You guys might, a few of you out there, like, Ed, Jesus Christ, I served 40 years ago. I'm not going to find a buddy. I understand that. It's a difficult thing when you serve so long ago, but it is possible, and we are successful in finding buddies. Social media may not be your thing, but heck, go on Facebook, search for the person. There's websites set up for the specific units and everyone who's served in there. Their information might be on that website. Call your other buddies. Maybe they have contact information for them. I mean, you got to do a little digging, guys, but it is possible. And if you get that buddy statement, that may be enough to win your VA case. All right, guys, I hope that was helpful. Again, I'm Ed Farmer. Please like, share, subscribe. Put in the comments the next topics you want to see me talk about. If you need a more in-depth consultation, feel free to go visit my website, vetlawoffice.com, or schedule a consultation. Until next time, guys, remember, you have the power to win your VA case.